basically it starts off with Kian dying. The first page. What? I'm like, what? Hi wonderful people, and welcome back to my channel, Booklovers with Giselle. What's up, what's the scene? I hope you are doing well. Today, oh my gosh, I have some good books for you. So July has been a really good month. Like, I have read some books. These books have me so speechless. Listen, I reviewed some books this month, and I must say that I absolutely love them. I love them. I love them. These are the ones that I really enjoyed this month. I read others. If you are following me on Goodreads, you would know the other books that I have read. If you want me to mention them in another video, I will. But these are the ones that I absolutely enjoyed. I think I am obsessed with a couple. So if you want to know what books that I have been reading, what books I have become obsessed with, the one that I'm going to start with, I'm just saying, it is definitely one of the best books that I have read this year. This is the first one, love it. Like, when I read this book, I literally had to call up my read buddy, and I told him, like, you need to read this book. I'm like, Janelle, you need to read this book. I have to message her and find out if she read it and if she enjoyed it. I have to look. Maybe I will just stalk her on her Goodreads account. But anyways, if you want to know which books that I have been loving, keep watching my video. If you're new to my channel and it's the first time you're here, I talk about romance books. I am literally obsessed and addicted to reading romance books. I have been for years, and that is why I decided to start this channel, so that I can share my obsession and my passion and my addiction with you. So if you like romance books, you like talking about romance books, you like everything related to romance books and reading them, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And if you are returning, how are you? I hope you're doing great. Let's get started. The cover of this book, it is not all that, right? It ain't all that. It is the contents of the book. Lessons in Sins by Pam Godwin. You have to read it. Like, this book, I was caught off guard. I wasn't expecting this book to be so good. Like, I read the blurb and I'm like, whoo, I need to read this. Now, first of all, I have never read a book with a priest. I've never, let me say right now, Lessons in Sin, it is an age gap romance. It's roughly almost 20 years between the heroine and the hero. It is a forbidden romance. It is between a teacher and his student. It is also a priest. There's a priest involved. It's also a billionaire romance as well. That is it. So it's an age gap romance. It is a forbidden romance. It's a teacher and student. There's a priest. There's a punching of the V card. You have this priest that wants to be celibate, but you know you have the temptation from the forbidden fruit, that is the student. Oh, God. Let me start talking about this book now and stop just obsessing over it. So in Lessons in Sin, we meet Tinsley and Father Magnus. Tinsley, she's 18 years old and she's being forced to go to this private prep school. She is kind of the wild child in the family. She's also the last. She's the baby sibling, and her mother wants her to stay pure and innocent so that she can marry her off to someone else and have like this big family merger. She comes from wealth, that's why they could afford to go to this prep school anyways, and Kingsley, she's all about, hey, I want to live my life. She's like kind of rebellious. She's like, I want to have life experiences like everyone is having them. I want my turn. And then you have Father Magnus. So Father Magnus, he was a billionaire. He likes things very dark in the bedroom. He is very much into like giving pain and all of that. However, he has a thing for older women. And Father Magnus, something happened between him and one of his partners, and that person ended up dying, and he could not forgive himself. So whereas you're normally called into being a priest, he chose that life. He chose to be celibate and, you know, just not to engage in, you know, those things anymore. So he used his money and opened up his school. However, come Tinsley is this temptation. So Tinsley devises a plan. She's like, you know what? I am not going to stay in this school. Hell no. So her plan is to do something that would cause Father Magnus to just, you know, send her home. However, that backfired because they developed this type of relationship. She has attitude, she has sass, she is so smart, so she ends up having like private classes with Father Magnus because he's freaking intelligent and smart as well. That's why he made his billions. While she is there trying to tempt Father Magnus, he is there trying to pay penance for what he did in the past, because he wants to get his cravings under control. He wants to get these desires and needs under control. But Tinsley, she's not having that. She's like, you know what? He is so sexy and, you know, he's forbidden. And she tempts this man into breaking his vow. This book is a slow burn like no other, and I really like that about this book. It just, you know, things did not just happen. It was like a slow build up, and then you have the plot in this book, the storytelling in this book, the writing in this book. It is amazing. It is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. Again, I've never read anything like this. I did not expect this from the cover. I did not expect this book to even be this good from reading the blurb. Like, it had my heart racing. It had my skin on fire. Yes. The ending was such a twist. Tinsley and Father Magnus. Guys, when he broke his vows, you know I'm all for those lustful, sinful books. This one was definitely sinful. Absolutely love this book. When you start reading this book, you are not going to put it down. I highly recommend that you read this book. But let's get into some other books that I have read. I really enjoyed this one too. So it's When Heroes Fall and When Heroes Rise by Gianna Darling. I absolutely love this one too. These books I also gave 5 stars to. So I read Enthralled and Enamored, I think in March or April. I will link the video for you. Watch that video and you'll find out about what happened. You can definitely read these 2 books as a standalone, but if you want to get the full experience, read Enthralled and Enamored first, and then read When Heroes Fall and When Heroes Rise, because you have to read both parts. So in When Heroes Fall, you meet Dante the capo and you meet Elena the ice lawyer, or I like to call her the ice lawyer because she is a lawyer and she's like an ice queen. So Elena, she basically grew up in Italy. She had a very hard life. Her sister Cosima made like sacrifices for the family and brought them to New York. She had really terrible experiences in Italy, so in New York she wanted to make things better. She wanted like a whole different change for her life. All well and good, and she became a lawyer. But in becoming a lawyer, she had a very clear white or black view about the law. Full stop. And she had her own set of ideologies. Her ideologies conflicted with what her sister asked her to do. So her sister asked her to represent Dante because Dante took the fall for a crime she committed. However, her sister didn't tell her that she committed a crime, no. So he's there and he's on trial for fraud, racketeering, murder. It's like a number of charges that he is facing, and they want to put him away because he's the capo of the Italian mafia in New York. And in terms of like representing Dante, he shows her that the law is not clear cut. Everything is not as white or black as things seem, and the law is corrupted. Lawyers are corrupted, and she gets first hand of that. And due to a situation where she is forced to live with Dante, she gets to see that, hey, things are not as they seem. When the story unfolds with this book, Elena, she falls for Dante. And Dante is basically, he's home on house arrest and whatnot. He was out on bail, home on house arrest. If you've been following this book, Elena's dad, he is corrupted, he's involved in the mafia, he's involved in a lot of illegal activities, and he sets her up. And Dante now, he goes to save her, and by doing that, he forfeits the right to be under house arrest and can be arrested. And he flees the country because he went to save her. Flees the country, and she sees what type of man that Dante is, and he goes with her. Yo, this is so good. When heroes fall, it is such a great story. Like, you get to see the Ice Princess, you get to see everything just slowly chipped away. All her good morals and ideals, it is just chipped away. And then in book 2, when heroes rise, you really see her in her true nature. She's like, you know what? I have been good. I have been following the good books. I've been following the law. And this is what happens. She's like, you can't win, right? You can't win being good. So what do you do when you can't be good? What do? You become bad. You become bad. And that is what she does. So she has to protect Dante. Dante turns himself back into the law, turns himself back into the cops to face trial. He commits murder in jail. Listen, these books, they are good. I think with these books, like why I honestly love them so much, it's really the change that you see in Elena. You see her start off in one way because of her experiences. You really saw her change as the story went along, and you saw like growth, you saw development. The story flowed so nicely. The characters are beautiful. Every single one of them, you get some type of attachment, regardless of if they are involved in illegal activities. You really get an attachment to these characters, and you just want the best for them. Like, you want things to work out for each and every one of them. Obviously, it has like, you must have the villain, and yeah, I didn't like him, but absolutely love it. Dante, he's fierce. He's very protective of his family. He is definitely high-handed and knows how to get what he wants. He tends to manipulate situations and manipulate things. And obviously, you have to do that if you're in a mafia. Obviously, you have to know how to do those things. And with Elena, honestly, she is very sweet. She is very closed-minded. But again, you see all these things change when she's able to step onto the bad side to do what she has to do to protect her man. Absolutely love this book. I think I'm going to put up some of the quotes that I really enjoyed from these books. So if you see stuff coming up on your screen, I hope you enjoy that. Elena and Dante, they are freaking dynamite. I absolutely love this story. Dark Queen, loved it. Loved it. Can't remember if I gave it 4 or 5 stars, but I definitely love this one. This one, you meet Alyssa and Luca. Alyssa, her mom died. She's from a small town. She has absolutely nothing going for her besides dancing. Her mother trained her to dance, like it became an obsession. At a young age, she was forced to dance, and she doesn't know anything else but becoming a ballerina. And so she gets this opportunity to try out at a school where she can get like a scholarship. They choose like 5 students or so, and you know, they are funded. And she goes and she tries out, but she doesn't really get like a positive vibes, I guess, from after the tryouts. And she has this encounter with Luca when she's leaving. And with this, because of this encounter, it leaves an impression on Luca, and he decides to become her sponsor. So she gets called back into the school, and they let her know, hey, there's a job at this bar where you can, you know, work and get money to pay like for food and additional things that the tuition doesn't cover. And so she does that. She meets Luca again, and they form like this connection, this strong connection. And she senses that Luca really likes her, but persons that are close to him, or females that are close to him, are being murdered. So because of that, he's like very hesitant, because he believes that if he strikes up anything with her, that she would be murdered as well. In this story, because of what is happening and because of the plot and whatnot, you see Alyssa. You would think that Alyssa is this, you know, sweet, kind-hearted girl, you know, because she wants to be a ballerina and all of that. But you know something? She's not. And she, Alyssa, discovers that she's not innocent, that she's not kind, that she is none of the above. She's not sweet, that she's indeed a dark queen that Luca needs. She discovers that she's ruthless, she's fearless, has no sense of self-preservation, and that she can be as vicious and callous as Luca. So obviously when you hear the title Dark Queen, it's because every dark king deserves a dark queen. But back to the story. With Luca and the murder, he discovers who is doing the murdering. It doesn't happen, or it isn't revealed until the end. Like, I had absolutely no idea who was actually murdering these people close to Luca. I have absolutely no idea. You know, when you read some books, you can sense or get an idea of who it is. With this one, you had absolutely no idea, and I love that about this story, because it literally keeps you absorbed into the story, because you don't know what is going to happen next. In this book, like, I could not anticipate or make assumptions as to what was going to happen. I couldn't. And I love that about this book. Again, the writing in each of these books that I've spoken about, it is phenomenal. I could find no fault in the writing, in the characters. Like, they weren't annoying people at all. Like, they were quite really enjoyable. This should be a dark book, but I don't find, for me, compared to what I read, it wasn't as dark. And another thing that I really liked about this particular story is that, you know, sometimes when you discover that the person you like is in the mafia, that you get turned off, or you're scared, or you run. Hell no, that did not happen in this one. She just literally slid right into that lifestyle. Like, she just fit right in. She was exactly what Luca needed, because he needed to get married, and they did like make an arrangement of some sort to get married. And as soon as they got married, the person attempted to murder her. And I will leave it there. Next book. So if you didn't know, I love to read interracial romances. So I read Veread, written by Danielle Wallace. This is my first time reading a book from this author, and I absolutely love this story. Like, it broke my heart. If you read the blurb for this book, you are probably going to shed a tear or get all watery eyes or something like that. It is a very emotional book. In Breathe, you have Kian, and basically it starts off with Kian dying. The first page, he is dying, and he hears Jerika, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, he hears Jerika's voice saying, no, live, come back to me and whatnot. And so he lives, but he disappears after that. And then you see him, he's all drugged out. There are several triggers in this book. He's all addicted to drugs. He has suicidal thoughts, and he picks up this phone and he calls his name that he hasn't called in a while, only to discover that he has a daughter that he knew nothing about. And it starts off like that, and then you go back to several years when they were in high school. So Jerisha and Kian, they were like just neighbors, and they became like really fast friends. They became lovers. And then his dad came back. He was a Marine. He came back and he started to really like abuse his mom. And then he hears this noise. So one night he's by Jerisha, he hears this noise, and he runs home to discover his mom lying in a pool of blood. He turns around and his dad has like a gun to him and shoots him. So listen, this book, and he dies, but in order to like cover up stuff, he has to disappear, and he does. But when he finds out he has a daughter, he goes back and he realizes how much he loves Jerikisha and his daughter, and he's there for years without telling her anything. And then when he discovers that she's going to get married, he's all, oh, now he wants to play a part, or wants her to know that he's alive and not dead, because she honestly thought that he was dead. And she had their kid while she was in a final year of high school and all of that. Honestly, Breed, it is such a heartwarming book. It is such an emotional book. It is also a quick read. I just wish it was longer. Like, I love the plot. I absolutely love the character. I love the story, the whole dealing with death, and just these hard topics that people deal with on a daily basis. Like, you get it in this book, and I absolutely love this story. Breathe. And when when Kian finally goes back, his best friend is freaking dying of cancer. On top of all of that, so he's dealing with a lot. It has like this particular line, I'll probably put it up, but guys, this book, it's really good. I love like those types of books, but this one really got to me. It did. Next up, I love Bethany Scripps writing. So when I saw this book, The Beast of Moscow, was releasing, I'm like, hey, I need to read this, and I absolutely love it. This is a slow burn. Do not expect anything to happen in the first book, in book 1, right? I'm anticipating more stuff in book 2, but in book 1, there's a little something, but they don't go the whole way through. So we meet Vas. Vas is the head of the Russian Mafia. I love my Mafia books. And we meet Vera. She's the daughter of a New York Mafia boss. Vera, she's a ballerina. She went to Russia at a very young age. I think she went like 16 on her own. She went to Russia to become a ballerina. Things were going really good for her until she had an accident that shattered her dreams. Well, it shattered her ankle and it shattered her dreams, so she could no longer dance professionally. And this actually left her broken mentally, emotionally, and physically. And then you have Vas. Already I said he's the head of the Russian Mafia. He has been in prison for most of his life from a teenager. He was in prison. He came out, he did what he needed to do to survive. He went from the youth prison to the adult prison when he became of age, and he has just had a very hard life. This man did not have it easy. He had to fight to survive. So Vas is experiencing health issues, like he has like these migraines, and because of that, he's very vulnerable. He is very limited in what he can do as the mafia boss right now, and what he's in need of is a wife, and he thinks Vera is going to be the perfect fit for that. Literally in this book you have two broken souls. So because Vas cannot do a lot because of his physical health issues, his enemies are circling, and he needs to do something to protect himself, and there is where it ends. He starts to manipulate Vera. He gets her into his life. Vas is a very brutal, ruthless man. He likes to kill people with his hands. To me, this book wasn't very dark for mafia romance, but it was a very enjoyable book. Like, it left you wanting to know what is going to happen between Vera and Vas. I love this book. The way that this book ends, it does end on a cliffhanger, so you would definitely need to pick up your hands on book 2, The Lies Between Lovers. So I guess, you know what, things pick up exactly where it ends in book 1, The Beast of Moscow. And let me say again, Vas, he is a beast. You don't really see it in the bed, but the way that he operates as a mafia boss, this is exactly what I expect from a mafia boss, besides the health issues. Okay, so we have Rootless Scenes. Now, I did a video and I spoke about Cruel Saints. Love that book, and Rootless Saints was no different. The only difference is that Carson, the hero, he's an assassin. So they all train at this particular school at Monarch. They train, and he trained to be an assassin. That is all he knows. He's the bringer of death. He's very good at his trade, and he lives in a place where he would fit in. That is basically Carson. He tries to fit in. And you have Haley. Haley is this bubbly, outgoing, free-spirited young woman that is backpacking through Europe. And she's in Switzerland. She's working at a bar to save some money, and then she's going to go on to somewhere else in Europe. And she meets Carson in this bar, and she's so intrigued. She said there's something dark about him, and she's just like getting some nice vibes from him. And she's there, and Carson, like, he's sensing her, doesn't really want, you know, to do anything with her. But his first night meeting Haley, after her shift, she's followed by these men, and these men are out to do bad. He goes in, he saves her silently. She doesn't know what happens, but you know, they meet up again at this bar, and then Carson goes to do a hit. So he gets this contract to take out some crime player, something like that. He gets the contract. Who does he meet? He meets Haley. He sits down. He's like, okay, I will take you back, because she went sightseeing somewhere. He's like, I'll take you back, just sit in the car. If I don't return in a particular time, he tells her to leave. So he goes into this club to take out these people, and obviously Carson is thrown off by Haley, and he messes up. And now these people are out to get both Haley and him. He calls in his brothers to help. They are attacked. Haley is tortured, and she doesn't know if she can be with someone like Carson because he lied about what he did and who he is, and she paid the price for it. Honestly, this book is so good. Like, Carson comes off as being cold and unemotional, but underneath it all, he's a very sweet guy. It's just that this is the hand that life has dealt him, so he's just working with it. He cannot come out, he cannot not stop taking contract, and this is something that Haley would have to deal with if she wants to be with him. She almost died. She was real broken up, like they did a number on her, and Carson could not show any emotions because they would have just used her against him. Yo, this book is really nice. If you like to read mafia romances but you don't like it like too dark or too violent or anything like that, you are definitely going to enjoy reading this one. Definitely. Next up, I have an MC romance for you. This is also based in high school. It is a young adult romance. It is also a reverse harem romance. You see, I'm giving it a second chance. If you did not watch my video about another reverse harem book that I read that I did not enjoy, I will put the link in the description box so that you can watch my thoughts on that book. But yeah, so this is my second attempt at reading a reverse harem, and I must say that I like it. So it's Savage, and it is book 1 in the Savage Falls Sinners series. Will I be continuing the series? Yes, so I will, because it is going good. It's the first time that I'm reading a book written by Caitlin Dare, and the writing is good. I love it. The characters, love the characters. Does it have me in suspense? Yes, because I want to know what is going to happen, because book 1 ends in a cliffhanger and I have to wait weeks to read book 2. Normally I don't do it like that. I love to read, one book after the next. I usually wait for a series to be complete before I start reading it, but I'm like, I need to give you the tea, so I have to keep updated. So I'm doing this for you. Instead of waiting until the series is complete, I'm going to read each book as soon as it comes out and share them with you. So in this book, we meet Sadie, we meet West, we meet Dane, and we meet Rhett. So Sadie is the MC princess. Her dad is the president. She is spoiled, obviously. She gets what she wants. She does what she wants. Unfortunately, her dad made a promise to his best friend that if anything should happen, that he will take care of his kids. And there's where you have Rhett. So Rhett's mom recently passed away, and the MC president, Sadie's dad, invited him to stay there. So Rhett and his sister is staying with Sadie, but Rhett opted to stay in the clubhouse because his dad, before he passed away, before he died, he was the vice president, so he is next in line to become the vice president of the MC. So anyway, Sadie has a thing for Rhett, like she really likes him. He's very domineering, he's very controlling, he's very possessive. And then you have Dane. Dane and Sadie used to be best friends, but now Dane and Rhett are best friends, but Dane always loved Sadie. He wanted to be with Sadie, he just didn't have the balls to go up against the MC to be with Sadie. And then you have West. West attends the high school that they go to, and he is friends with Evans, who has a beef with everyone that is involved with that MC. His dad doesn't like the MC, doesn't like the people in the MC, and uses every opportunity to say something negative about them. But he has no issue with that, and he and Sadie slowly becomes friends. Dane and Sadie become friends once again, and Rhett and Sadie, I don't know what they are, but they do the dirty. You see where Sadie is with Dean and with Rhett all at the same time or separately, and then you have beef going on with another MC. And Wes, at the end, Wes like sent her a text and said, hey, can you meet me? I need to talk. She goes and then she's kidnapped. Boom, book 1 ends. I'm like, what? Honestly, I wasn't expecting any type of relationship to happen with Wes. Neither with Dean. I thought it would just be with Rex. I was taken by surprise. I didn't even realize this was going to be a reverse harem. Had no clue until I saw things developing. It is a quick, spicy read. It is yummy. It is a bullying romance. It's a dark bullying romance. To me, it doesn't really have much bullying the way that in my mind, how I view bullying. There's one or two instances in terms of, you know, the throwing of words and so on. But besides that, nothing really gets like physical unless, you know, Rhett and Dina, you know, defending Sadie, you know what I mean? But absolutely love this one. So this brings me to the end of my wrap-up video of books that I've read in July. I hope you liked some of these books. I hope you're going to read some of these books, because the books I've read, they did not let me down. I loved most of the books I've read. These are some of my favorites from all the books that I've read. If you want to know everything, hit me down below and I'll mention the other books that I read this month, or you can go to my Goodreads account and see what books you see read on that list, or my recently read books there. And yeah, so that brings me to the end of my video. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Let me know which books you're going to read in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel if you have not. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you will know when I post a video, so you'll know when to come on and watch it, you know. Look out until I post another video. So bye for now.